This video is sponsored by Sakuraco and TokyoTreat. Underneath the veneer of Attack on Titan beholds one of the series' most everlasting messages: freedom. We see Eren Yaeger as he grows up before our very eyes, pursuing his vengeful need for freedom, even if the cost is being the one who ends up taking it. In this video, I want to break down the first moments of Final Season Part 3 leading into the now infamous freedom sequence and analyze just what kind of price Eren paid for the freedom he so craved, for better or for worse. And while Eren craves freedom, you, good sir or madam, crave for snacks. Specifically from today's sponsor, TokyoTreat. TokyoTreat is a delicious snack box that includes some of the most popular Japanese snacks like Kit Kat, ramune, ramen, and as you can see from my box, so much more. And the best part? They have a separate box, Sakuraco. This box has a totally different and premium vibe to it like none other I've seen. In this box, there is always something new and different from authentic and traditional Japanese local artisan snack makers. TokyoTreat and Sakuraco's mission is one that I can personally relate to, as they want to share the culture of Japan through the medium of snacks. Even better is whether you choose TokyoTreat or the Sakuraco box, you get a booklet in each that explains every snack included in your box, along with some history and culture. So let's see what you get in each of these boxes. So my first impressions after opening this box and just laying it all out, and especially reading that pamphlet and receiving this little dish here, I'm honestly, I think I'm going to continue to say subscribe to the Sakuraco box at the very least, because it has so much stuff in it. It has also so much culture in it that it's just beautiful. It's just, even the way they packaged it, it was immensely breathtaking.
You're breathtaking.
All right, let's open this up and see what we got. Oh, wow. Holy crap. There is just so much stuff in here. I honestly have never had a subscription box be this high quality. I mean, I subscribed to a couple ones before, and I was always very disappointed because I felt like the overall experience was just really poor. It felt like somebody just went to a store and bought $30 worth of snacks and sold it for, you know, for twice the price or something like that. But this is just, so far, opening up both of these boxes, it's just crazy. I feel like I'm transported into the world of Japan, and that sounds so crazy. And so look, they gave you a freaking glass bottle of, well, obviously I can't read Japanese. This actually also comes from Japan, by the way. They ship it directly from Japan. So this stuff is super authentic. It really shows that the people running this company, it feels like, honestly, they subscribed to a bunch of boxes and said, wow, we can do better. What, guys, this is a snack box, and we're getting stuff like this. This is insanity to me. I am so impressed that I'm gonna buy these every month. I'll look at all the stuff I got. This is just one box. This is the main box. And that's not even considering the fact that I got this as well, which that is insane. And it tells you how to make these snacks and how they're used and why they're popular in Japan. This is probably one of my best sponsors ever. And I really mean that. So whether you want the heaviest Japanese snack box on the planet, or you want to experience the most authentic Japanese tea time at your home, so use my code SeaTactics for $5 off your first purchase, and it gives me a little kickback, so you'll be supporting the channel. Now, on to the video. I first want to focus in on the short sequence of Eren and Mikasa under a tree. By this point, it has become an iconography associated with some of the series' most important and memorable moments, with references in episode 1, episode 80, and now episode 87. However, this is not something you should gloss over, as there are a lot of important details. For example, when Mikasa says, "I'll see you later, Eren," and it looks like she reaches down to almost embrace him as he awakens and is asked why he is crying. The reason that Eren is crying, as we now know, is that the dream he witnessed was one in which he saw the rumbling. We can confirm this with episode 1 of Attack on Titan, when just before waking up, he briefly sees chaos and destruction before him, along with the images of Dinah eating Carla before it even happened. However, at that point, Eren couldn't have even known what that was, and thus it was very cleverly written off as just a nightmare, with most people glossing over or not even recognizing the whole thing with Carla being eaten by Dinah Fritz in that sequence. Eren was sending back memories, which beautifully ties into the second scene of chapter 1. Don't worry, we'll get to Halil and Ramzi in just a moment. We see Eren walking through Marley, thinking, an important piece of contextualization. This is literally just moments after Eren walks out of the peace meeting from the previous episode. The Eldians of Marley basically shifted the blame onto Paradis, throwing the entire island under the bus so that the Eldians of Marley would be spared. So, by this point, walking through the street, he had just recently made up his mind on what he was going to do, which was to activate the rumbling. We see Eren go through in his head basically the events that have already happened. To put it simply, he has experienced all of this before in the exact same way that he experienced his mother being before it even happened under the tree. This is why the combination of the attack and founding is so fascinating. It, in theory, allows a form of time travel through memories and emotions, which is very unique. Though, this ability does have some form of drawback, as it seems that Eren is almost lost in time. He knows he's going to save Ramzi as he stumbles upon him. He even sees a couple that are pregnant and has a vision of his mother because of that. That aspect of which is really interesting because he asks himself what his mother would think. Obviously, going back to those episodes, it's pretty clear that Carla likely wouldn't approve of any of this at all. That's the reason she told Mikasa to protect him, to keep him out of trouble. Though at the end of the day, he just cannot accept the outcome of Eldians on Paradis dying or being euthanized, which beautifully leads us into Halil and Ramzi. Much like Mikasa and Eren, we see Halil and Ramzi under, well, their own tree. They have been coming back to this tree over time to fill it with all of the money that they've stolen from pickpocketing. Their end goal is to use this money to buy a better place for their family to live. A lot of people don't catch this, but it is simply their childhood innocence. They think that they will be able to buy a better place, but they haven't even fully understood that, at this point, Marley does not care and will likely not let them get a new place to live. Though it seems that Halil is worried about Ramzi, as he was recently caught stealing and had his hand, well, removed. Most likely after the sequence in which Eren intervenes in the alley. His little brother is just looking out for him, and the writing is so detailed that we learn their grandpa is really worried about Ramzi. It seems that he's the kind of kid who fights against the system Marley has put in place and is valiantly trying his best to improve their situation. In other words, Ramzi is just a really good kid. This is further on display when Ramzi replies, telling his little brother that if he dies, he wants him to give all of his money to everyone in their village. This moment really was just very essential in showing that Eren is literally killing a mass amount of innocent people. People who are even the same race as him, Eldian. It also shows how cruel Eren is beyond that as well. As we see adults fleeing, they feel the rumbling and see all of the birds fleeing in the same direction as the adults. As they look over the horizon, they see the horrifying figures of the Wall Titans quickly marching. Every step they take is setting the forests on fire, only to have them be literally stomped out over and over. This scene establishes that the rumbling isn't something that just affects humans, and it's not just the G word Eren is going through with, it is also the omni version of that word. In other words, the complete destruction of all life, humans, plants, trees, animals, reptiles. It is the act of carrying out extinction on the grandest of scales to the point of where nothing will remain, only a flattened wasteland. Even if people were to survive the rumbling, they would soon die in weeks as all of the resources in the world would be completely destroyed. As Eren is continuing his walk through the streets, he sees Ramzi being beaten in the alley. It seems these guys, based on what they said, make it a habit to beat up children who aren't Marleyan. This is a stark contrast to the previous scene, which showed us all of the innocent people Eren is destroying. This is the other side of Eren, and a continuation of Isayama's writing philosophy of showing both sides of an event. It feels like in this moment, it's really telling the viewer almost nothing and is letting you make up your own mind on what you want to think and not really judging you about it. It is smart writing because it lets the viewer imprint their own values, insert themselves into the story, and thus get even more immersed into the episode. Is Eren doing the wrong thing?
Is Eren saving people like Ramzi from these people by eliminating them along with the children? Or is he something much, much worse? Really, it's up to your interpretation. However, this is really not the case for Eren, as he directly feels responsible for their demise, and thus feels he has no reason to act righteously and really just lets the kid be beaten up. Though he does carry Ramzi back to his home village, and here he realizes that things haven't changed. The timeline is set. The rumbling is going to happen. He even compares himself to, as he says, that half-assed piece of shiz like Reiner. While a really funny line in a moment that is so true that if there was a Twitch chat here, everybody would be saying a charoo. This beautifully leads us into the rumbling as the people of the world slowly start to realize they're completely out of luck. The Wall Titans are just too fast to outrun in any fashion. Although Ramzi doesn't give up and still runs while clutching the money, this symbolizes that he still believes there is hope and a future, but also that he's desperately holding on to it. Moreover, it's just sad. As soon as Halil and Ramzi save up, this awful thing happens to them. It's heartbreaking. And in their final moments, Halil dies, clutching the money he held. And if you're smart enough, you'll know that this was actually referenced in the final season part 1 opening. That's just a really cool piece of detail. However, this leads us to the ultimate climax of the first 10 minutes. The freedom sequence. Lauded by many AOT fans, including myself, the freedom scene represents everything wrong about Eren in this moment. After Armin showed him the book, Eren always dreamed of something wonderful and fantastical across the sea. He dreamed of something more. So when he found out that humanity existed beyond the walls of the island, he felt disappointed. So, to get rid of that disappointment, he decides his best course of action was to eliminate everyone beyond it. Wipe this slate clean, so to speak. This is important to dissect because many people may think Eren's reasons are not selfish. However, this directly contradicts that, as he didn't say that he needed to wipe them out, he said he wanted to. His own disappointment, his own dreams, his own decisions all point to the undeniable fact that Eren wanted this, pretty much by the time Eren touched Historia, if not a little bit later. The point being is that it's clear that Eren indeed wanted this. However, this does not mean that he doesn't have a guilty conscience about it. He begins to weep and breaks down in front of Ramzi as he apologizes. This shows that the mental weight Eren has put on himself to go through with this is immense. While he wants to eliminate everyone else, at the end of the day, that's still going through with murder, which is not an easy thing for people even like Eren to do. And yes, this is a very complicated and delicate piece of writing, and there are so many layers that I may not have done a good enough job here, but to put it simply, Eren's selfish desires are to activate the rumbling, but he still has a clear enough conscience to know that it's morally wrong to do so. We then see the Wall Titans essentially destroy everything in their path. While this is happening, we see many familiar sights, one of them being the spire, which Lara Tiber created from her hardening. I do feel sorry for the Titan that has to step on that, by the way. We also see Eren's grandparents and Grisha's parents in their cells, as the people left to attend the facility they are at have all abandoned them. And, well, they realize pretty quickly their time is up. Eren wouldn't even spare his family. And really nobody is spared, as humans are left to be burnt alive. The crumbling infrastructure of Marley is represented by the crumbling statue of the fictional hero Helios, signifying that Marley has fallen, and ultimately, Willie Tiber was right. We also see the natural human struggle to live as humans desperately cling onto life. They pack themselves into trains, crush people trying to get through areas much like the Wall Titans, and rip each other from cars, struggling to live, or in some cases, go out the easy way as mass suicide takes effect. All of this chaos, death, and destruction leads us to one road in which we must all embark on. Is Eren Yaeger truly the most free man in the world, or simply a puppet for his own desires? Well, the answer is somewhat complicated. The reasons people would consider Eren to be free is pretty just. For example, he possesses the power of the Founding Titan, which allows him to control the memories and actions of all Eldians, including the Titans. This power gives him the ability to resist manipulation and even control by others, including the royal family. This immediately makes him one of the most powerful men in the world alone. Another is Eren is strong-willed and driven by his own desires and goals. He has his own ideals about what is right and wrong and is not easily swayed by others. This independence of thought and action makes him free from the influence of others. Even personally throughout the series, Eren fights for his own freedom and freedom of his people because he is willing to take drastic measures and risks to achieve his goal, even if it means going against his friends and allies. His commitment to this cause further emphasizes his belief in freedom, though another, and the final factor most people would consider Eren free, is his upbringing and experiences that have contributed to his sense of freedom. He grew up in a society that was constantly threatened by Titans, and he witnessed firsthand the limitations and sacrifices that people had to make to survive. This made him appreciate the value of freedom even more. As well, and most importantly, he is the wielder of the Founding and Attack Titan. These two combinations together pretty much make it to where nobody can tell Eren what to do because he is quite literally the person with the most power in the world. This, by default, in terms of power, makes him the most free man because nobody can tell him what to do. Because as we've seen, when somebody does, he activates the rumbling. In our real world, this is an equivalent to something like nuclear war, so, just a thought to think about. And as well, a very good reason for why Eren should be the most powerful man in the world and the most free. Altogether, this is a strong, nearly bulletproof argument for why Eren is the truly most free character in the series. And if you believe this, well, I actually can't blame you or judge you for it. Though, I'd like to open your mind to some of the reasons I think he may not be free. Also reasons I think are sort of undeniable. The first being that Eren is bound by his duty and responsibility as the holder of the Founding Titan. His power makes him a target for those who seek to control or use him for their own purposes, and he is obligated to use his power to protect his people and prevent the Titans from causing further harm. While just a small example, just like for the examples as to why he is free, these start to quickly add up. Because Eren's actions are influenced by the memories of his predecessors who possessed the Founding Titan before him. These memories can shape his decisions and behavior, which limits his freedom to act based solely on his own desires and beliefs. Not only that, but while Eren fights for the freedom of his people, his actions can also be seen as driven by a desire for revenge and a belief in the cycle of violence. He is willing to sacrifice innocent lives and commit atrocities in pursuit of his goals, which does raise questions about his true motives and the extent of his freedom. Ultimately, throughout the series, Eren's decisions and actions are often influenced by external factors such as his friendships, alliances, and circumstances. This suggests that his actions are not entirely independent and that he is not completely free from the influences of others. All of this is to surmise that I believe Eren is the most free man in the world based on power. However, power alone does not represent freedom. It only represents the freedom to do what he wants without any consequences. With great power comes great responsibility. And while this is a phrase often said and misused, it is true for Eren in this case. Because, as a man once said, everyone is drunk on something. And that's the case for Eren as well. The actions Eren took are a direct result of his own beliefs. They are not because he had no choice in choosing the extinction of Paradis or Marley. This can be proven simply by analyzing the man's own words. He said himself, as soon as he learned about the others across the sea, he wished for their extinction. As well, Eren's strong conviction for his freedom, one of the reasons we usually assume why he is free, is also in reality yet another chain which shackles him. Eren is bound to destroy everything because his ideals demand that he must. If he sees someone take others' freedoms, he must take theirs, or it will drive him mad. This, as well, can be proven when he talks to Zeke in the Paths. A truly free man would probably realize the wrong he's done and stop there. But he did not. Instead, he gave others their freedom to stop him, which is basically him siding with his own ideals, not what is morally right or just generally right in the given situation. Eren Yaeger is a puppet for Eren Yaeger. Now, does this take away Eren's other freedoms or the arguments for it? No, it does not. Because while Eren is free, Eren Yaeger is not free from responsibility. He is not free from his own ideals. He is not free to stop the rumbling, and he is not free from moving forward or to keep fighting. You want to know the answer if Eren Yaeger is free? You decide. Because as a man named Kenny once said,
"We humans, we're all the same. Every last one of us. For some it's drinking. For some it's women. For some even religion. Family, the king, dreams, children, power. All of us had to spend our lives drunk on something, else we'd have no cause to keep pushing on. Everyone was a slave to something. Even him."
if you enjoyed this video, then check out my video on why Armin and Annie's relationship actually makes a lot of sense. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.